Joshua is a young gun with a lot of power and is real determined to win, whereas Klitschko is experienced and has dominated for a long time. I don't know, it's hard to say. I look forward to watching it. I think it's 50-50. A lot of people think Joshua will knock him out, but I think Klitschko has the experience to avoid that. We will see, but it will be an interesting fight. Those are the words of WBO heavyweight world champion Joseph Parker talking about the upcoming clash between IBF heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua and the former heavyweight king Wladimir Klitschko. He thinks it's a 50-50 fight. Now, in boxing, you're only as good as your last fight in the eyes of most of the public. In Klitschko's last fight, he was comprehensively outboxed by Tyson Fury and did very little to combat what was happening to him in the ring up until the 12th round. He surrendered his titles with a whimper, really, against Tyson Fury. So a lot of the public remember that. And they remember Anthony Joshua's past few performances being destructive, dominating his opposition with ease. So the general consensus, certainly in the UK, among casual boxing fans and even probably the majority of hardcore boxing fans, is that Anthony Joshua is going to win this fight. Now, a lot of people who are hardcore boxing fans, but maybe haven't been following the sport for too long, I think they might have been influenced. Some of them might have changed their opinion, for example, about who they think is going to win out of Klitschko and Joshua. Perhaps they were siding more towards Klitschko before, but after the events of the past week or so, excuse me, they may have changed their view and now believe that Joshua's going to take it. And the reason why I say that is because they may have watched the Tony Bellew-David Haye fight and would have been struck by the way David Haye deteriorated seemingly overnight in terms of his ability. Even before the injury occurred, I believe that was in the 5th or 6th round, he looked very, very poor in there from the first round. And a lot of hardcore boxing fans who were maybe leaning towards Klitschko or saw it as 50-50 would have said, you know what, if David Haye, who's younger than Klitschko, can deteriorate like that overnight, then I think Klitschko's probably going to deteriorate too. And he's finished. And Joshua's going to do a demolition job on him. And maybe he will. I've said many times, and you guys are probably sick of hearing me say this, but I've said many times that in my view and in my experience, layoffs tend to affect older fighters more so than younger fighters. David Haye hadn't fought a legitimate opponent in 5 years by the time he stepped in with Tony Bellew, a guy who was a current world champion at cruiserweight and had been fighting top fighters. So you saw what that lack of top-level competition for 5 years did to David Haye, as well as all the injuries and whatnot and the lifestyle that he'd been living, the celebrity lifestyle, nightclubs, so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to Wladimir Klitschko, as far as I know, and as far as most people would have you believe, Wladimir Klitschko is a much more clean-living person than David Haye. He's not the nightclub guy. He's not the celebrity circuit guy to the extent that David Haye is. So he seems more dedicated to his craft than David Haye at this point. But he's older than Haye. Does Klitschko have injuries himself? Maybe he does. But perhaps he, with his more conservative style, doesn't have as severe injuries as David Haye, a guy who really pushes his body to the limit when he throws every punch, it seems, David Haye. And that takes its toll. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, definitely. But as I say, I do believe a lot of people are going to lean more now towards Anthony Joshua than ever before, having seen the way David Haye deteriorated against Bellew. They're going to think something similar is going to happen against Klitschko. Let me know if you're one of those people. Drop it in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about Joseph Parker's view here. He thinks it's 50-50. Who do you think Joseph Parker would rather fight? Wladimir Klitschko or Anthony Joshua? Stylistically, how do you think he would do against either man? And as I say, how do you think Joshua's going to do against Klitschko? How's that fight going to go? Drop it all in the comment section below. And yeah, who would make the best matchup here? Would you rather see Joshua unifying with the other champions like Parker and Wilder, or would you rather see Klitschko do that? Let me know, all right? It's something I'm out.